The sick lion. A lion, unable from old age and infirmities to provide himself with food by force, resolved to do so by artifice. He returned to his den and lying down there pretended to be sick, taking care that his sickness should be publicly known. The beasts expressed their sorrow and came one by one to his den, where the lion devoured them. After many of the beasts had thus disappeared, the fox discovered the trick and presenting himself to the lion, stood on the outside of the cave, at a respectful distance, and asked him how he was. "I am very middling," replied the lion, "but why do you stand without? Pray enter within to talk with me." "No, thank you," said the fox. "I notice that there are many prints of feet entering your cave, but I see no trace of any returning. He is wise who is warned by the misfortunes of others." This is an excellent theme. I wish I'd seen this theme 15 years ago. No, we've all done some great things and we've all made some mistakes. I'm certainly no exception. But yeah, the sick lion. Okay, so let's check this out. A lion unable from old age and infirmities, and you can kind of read the context clues, right? What do you think infirmities are? Even if you didn't know what it was, right? Um, Unable from old age, pictures, any creature who's old, and blank, to provide himself with food by force. So he's unable to like go snatch food up. Like he's a lion, right? So he can growl and get people to get maybe people, but definitely other animals, other creatures to scurry away so they can, and the lion can take the food. So infirmities are like sickness or disabilities, because as you get older, a lot of times that comes along with sickness and disabilities and just reminders that you're getting older. So context clues. So unable from old age and infirmities to provide himself with food by force, resolved to do so by artifice. So resolved to do so by basically artifice is basically art, which is like pretending. So basically he's trying to, at the end of the sentence, my thought is he's trying to beguile the other animals or people or both. So he's going to try to sort of trick or pretend or act um, to see if he can be slick and to pull off getting this food. He returned to his den and lying down there pretended to be sick. Okay, so here it is. He's pretending to be sick. He's acting, taking care that his sickness should be publicly known. Okay, so he tells all the journalists in his no, I'm just kidding. No, basically he probably growls really loudly and he's got some megaphone type thing in his den or a bunch of them, and he sets it up so that everyone hears him when he's growling, or maybe not growling, but coughing and sneezing and blowing his nose and wailing in pain. Um, so that's sort of the picture that Aesop is painting here. He's taking care in some way that his sickness should be publicly known. The beasts express their sorrow. So okay, so all the beasts around him in the, just imagine like this forest. They're like, "Oh, I feel so sorry for him," and then they come one by one to his den, and the lion ate them, just took them out. They had no clue what was about to hit them. And remember, the lion's old, so it's like this, this old, slick lion that you know doesn't have the physical capacity, to run out and be in the world and and to provide himself with food by force, uh, as the first sentence stated. But in his den, it's his own environment. It's a lot smaller. He doesn't have to run around, and deal with the elements and deal with the risks of being out in public and this and this and that. So being out in the forest, there's other predators, other animals, other you got to be smart if you're going to be out there. So he's in a lot sort of more self-contained and safer environment, and he's in his home, so he knows where all the tricks are and where everything, all the resources. I mean, just everything is familiar, in his den. So he devoured them. After many of the beasts had thus disappeared, the fox discovered the trick, and presenting himself to the lion, stood on the outside of the cave at a respectful distance and asked him how he was. Okay, so The fox somehow discovered the trick, somehow knew that this artifice, this pretending, this acting, and then now this devouring and killing and eating for sustenance, um, it doesn't necessarily seem like it's for sport. It seems like it's truly for sustenance to feed himself. Um, I was very middling, meaning I was sort of, you know, come see, come saw. Was like in a decent mood, I guess. I think that's what he's saying. Um, but why do you stand without? Pray enter within to talk with me. Like, I think he's saying, why do you stand outside? As opposed to like, why do you stand without somebody else? Or why do you stand without fill in the blank? I think he's saying, why are you standing outside my den or my home? Enter within and talk with me. Like, come on in. Entra. um, no, thank you, said the fox. Uh, so I notice that there are many prints of feet entering your cave, but I see no trace of any returning. So this fox is very smart in the sense of he or she is looking around, taking note of the details of is like a good detective, right? Like a good, or just someone who's good in the real world, who can see things that just feel off. And I think the older that you get, the more experienced you get, the better your mentors are, the better your parents are, the better your grandparents are, the better your community, the better your managers are, your coworkers. I mean, just if you have better people that are teaching you how books, uh, you know, t- uh, teachers, obviously. I mean, just people that can potentially help you to learn. Um, and in this case, we're talking about learning about the real world, being out in the real world. I always say, like, I hate being out in public when I'm sick, just as an aside, because it takes energy, so much energy, because you got to make sure people aren't coming after you, trying to harm you, trying to get more money out of you that something you might not want to buy, or there's just you don't I don't like being outside when I'm sick. And it's funny because even though it's like a beautiful day and but being out, it's I'll do it if I have to, but I would prefer to be at home because I know that my environment is much more relaxed. And this fox understands that. This fox is like, look, I'm out in public, I'm paying attention. So because you're extra vigilant, when you're sick, you have to be, and you're out in public. You got to take all that energy where you can focus on resting or relaxing or sleeping or blowing your nose or whatever, and you've got to like be alert. So I'm not trying to say that the world is all bleak and dark, but we definitely know that Aesop talks about this tough stuff, and that's one thing that I think is pretty intriguing about his writings. Um, because it's very accessible stuff, but he's talking about real life stuff to people of all ages. So you can really learn a lot at any age. In terms of these short stories that kids can even understand to a large extent, and to sort of try to formulate you know just a little bit of vigilance um, in the real world, and that's what this is all about. The fox said, "Look, I see all these prints entering. I don't see anybody leaving. It's clear. You're a murderous, rowdy, uh, once hungry, now probably stuffed lion, but you probably have a little bit more room for a little old fox. So I'm gonna stay out here. He is wise who is warned by the misfortunes of others. Very important. Being able to see and read. You know, um, and pay attention to what happens to other people when they do X, Y, and Z. It's really about consequences. And again, another really short story, but very powerful. I mean, we could talk about this for hours, just the different situations. But yeah, just be vigilant in public, um, and also take heed. However you learn the information, however you learn it, whether you see it or you read it, or you know wherever you learn it. Um, that you're wise who is warned by the misfortunes of others. So you can hopefully make the right decision, go down the right route, and give yourself the best odds of having the best outcome. The Sick Lion, Aesop's Fables. Thank you very much.